Hello everybody, in today's video we're going to be giving you your final update on the southeastern United States severe weather event that's going to be taking place from basically right now. We already have some thunderstorms going on over parts of Mississippi, Georgia, and Alabama as well. And then we're going to be taking you through what's going to be happening in the next few hours with this event. We're going to be seeing these storms head closer to the Gulf of Mexico and also to the Atlantic Ocean, so it's going to start to make it closer to the coast. We already have a few very severe and very intense bands of rainfall and thunderstorms. So let's get right into it here, and let's start off with your current National Weather Service page. You can see that we have some winter weather advisories in effect for parts of Montana, South Dakota, and a few winter weather advisories and winter storm warnings up for the mountains in eastern and northern California. We also have some red flag warnings in effect for parts of New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and Nevada as well. We have, I believe these are air quality alerts in effect for Kansas, Colorado, a little bit of Wyoming, and then parts of coastal Texas as well. A few flood watches are in effect for parts of Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And then in that yellow is where we have a tornado watch currently in effect. And we're going to be talking about that in just one moment. Yesterday we had a high temperature tie between Falcon Lake, Texas and Zapata, Texas, where both of them got to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Climax, Colorado, they got to -7 degrees Fahrenheit. The highest precipitation report was in Lakeside, Montana, where they got 0.6 inches of rainfall. And the highest snowfall report was 1 mile southwest of Fort Kent, Maine, where they got 9 inches of reported snowfall yesterday. So let's take a look at what the current radar looks like, and I'm recording this right around 9:30 in the morning Eastern Time, 8:30 in the morning Central Time. So this is dated, and if you want to, you can go to your local National Weather Service page. They do have the radar on their page, and you can kind of check out what the current and updated radar is. As of right now, we have your low pressure center over the Tennessee Valley right here, and we also have two very severe lines of storms, one back through southwestern Georgia and southern Alabama, and another one through western Alabama and southeastern Mississippi. So two fairly severe bands of thunderstorms. The more severe band, of course, is this one back here, and we have a ton of rainfall, just very steady and heavy rainfall at times going on through central and northern Georgia, eastern Tennessee, and even back through into the Tennessee Valley, and also some parts of Arkansas and Missouri as well, dealing with some steady and even heavy at times rainfall. So let's take a zoomed in look at a couple of these. This is that first one that was back through Mississippi and Alabama. You can see that we do have this line of storms somewhat like this. We have heavy rainfall along with, and even a few reports of hail and damaging winds. We haven't had too many reports of tornadoes out of this one just yet. There might have been a couple, one or two, but nothing too widespread. This one is the one that's causing a lot more issues in terms of tornadoes. We already have a couple ongoing tornado warnings in this area, and we also have tornado watches all throughout this region. So you can see we have a little piece of this that goes up to the north, and then it just kind of curves back down to the south into the panhandle of Florida, southern Alabama. So we're dealing with areas potentially like Tallahassee and Panama City getting in over the next couple of hours with this band of heavy rainfall and thunderstorms as it continues to march to the south and to the east. Here's what the current tornado watch looks like in southern Mississippi and southern Alabama. You can see that we have a moderate risk, according to the Storm Prediction Center, of tornadoes, a low risk of EF2 plus tornadoes, a moderate risk of severe wind, and a low risk of 65 knot plus wind, severe hail, and 2-inch plus hail. All of those categories are at a low risk as of right now. This was issued right around 1:20 in the morning Central Daylight Time, and it'll expire in another about 20 minutes, another about 20 minutes of when I'm recording this. So it's expiring right around 9 a.m. Central Time, and that's mainly because this line of storms, which is back through here, is already moving to the south and to the east. So it's pretty much passing these areas already. Here's the second tornado watch that we currently have in place, and that's over southern Georgia, southern Alabama, and into the panhandle of Florida. This is the one that has a lot more danger associated with it. We have a moderate risk of tornadoes, a moderate risk of EF2 plus tornadoes. We have a high risk of severe winds, a low risk of 65 knot plus winds, a moderate risk of severe hail, and a low risk of 2-inch plus hail. It expires at 3 p.m. Eastern Time today, and it was issued at 6:20 in the morning today. So about 3 hours from when I'm 3 hours before when I'm recording this right now. So you can see that does cover much of southwestern Georgia, again parts of the Panhandle of Florida and southern Alabama, and that's where we have that more convective band of storms that was marching into those areas. And we also have a mesoscale discussion, which was issued at 7:29 a.m. Central Time, 8:29 Eastern, and it expires at 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern. So this also expires in another few minutes of when I'm recording this, but they are talking about potentially tornadoes possible in this area. They might even extend this mesoscale discussion or issue another one over a similar area, because this area still does have this threat for tornadoes due to high dew points and also just the amount of energy and instability that is currently in the atmosphere. Here's what the current Storm Prediction Center outlook looks like, and you can see that we have a slight risk of severe weather anywhere in this yellow shade, which covers much of the southeast. Now, some of my viewers that do live up in the southern Appalachians and also through the parts of the northern Carolina, so northern South Carolina, southern North Carolina, those areas did actually get nudged out of the slight risk, and that mainly is because when I did look at first, when I just woke up and I just saw that they actually pushed this further down, I was a little bit surprised. But when looking at the models, most of the models have these storms actually suppressed a little bit further to the south, and that does make sense given how this storm is actually playing out on the radar right now. And we're going to show you that in the NAM. The NAM also goes along with that, and it keeps the storms pretty much all south of Atlanta for the most part. Any severe storms, at least, south of that area. And you can see the enhanced risk in that orange. Here's the risk of tornadoes. We have a 10% chance in the yellow and a significant hatched region of EF2 plus tornadoes. So there is a risk of EF2 or greater tornadoes in southwestern Georgia, a little bit of Alabama and Florida as well. So if you live within that area, do take precautions. And if you get a tornado warning, go to anywhere that you can really get shelter, because a tornado warning means that they've already spotted a tornado. A tornado is either likely or imminent in your area, so it's really kind of, you need to take action now when you do get that tornado warning on your phone or when you see it on TV. It is really important to take action when you do see a tornado warning. Here's that hail outlook, and you can see that we have a 30% chance of hail in this red area, and even a hatched area for, I believe, 2-inch plus diameter hail in southern Alabama and a little bit of Mississippi and Georgia, as well as Florida, a little bit of the Panhandle also stuck in that significant hatched region as well. Your wind outlook, you can see that we have a 30% chance of wind damage in this parts of southern Florida, southern Alabama, and the northern Panhandle of Florida as well. Here's what the NAM model is showing. So you can see how it has something similar to what's happening right now. This is by 12 p.m. today, and we already know that it's more severe than what it's being shown right here. You can see that we have our first line there. This looks way less severe than what is actually happening on radar, so we already know that this storm is outperforming what we were expecting in many of these areas further to the south, so we want to take that into account. And you have that second line, which right now is over Mississippi and western Alabama, but in another few hours will be in central Alabama according to this model. And these storms are going to pass further to the east. This is by 3 p.m. Eastern Time today, and they're moving into parts of Georgia, eastern Alabama as well. And this is by right around 6 p.m. Eastern Time today. And now it's really starting to get a little bit more active. You can see multiple different lines of storms rolling through parts of Georgia, Alabama, even into parts of South Carolina as well, with that threat of severe weather and severe storms. This is by right around 9 p.m. Eastern Time today, and we have, again, that line of storms through eastern Georgia, southern and coastal South Carolina, and then even a few more residual bands of storms back through Alabama. So we have multiple waves of these thunderstorms. Just because you go through this initial wave early today does not mean that you're not going to get hit again with another wave of storms later on in the day, especially in the evening hours, right around 3 to 9 or 10 p.m. Eastern time today. This is by 12 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow, and you can see that we have those storms moving a little bit further to the east now over coastal South Carolina and eastern Georgia, and then it eventually really dissipates. We're not dealing with too much activity on the back end of this. Here's the Cape numbers, and you can see that we have high amounts of Cape, 2 to 3,000 joules per kilogram or more in some of these areas through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and even into southern Georgia where we have that threat of some storms. We also have 1 to 2,000 Cape, which is well above what you would typically need to spawn up a decent or well-developed thunderstorm. So we have no issues in terms of the available energy. Here is the SCP, or the supercell composite parameter, and this is what's really, I think, is fueling these storms. We have SCP values which are about 10 to about 15 in some of these areas, even up to 20 in some of these areas. So that basically means that supercells are more likely to develop in southern Georgia, the Panhandle, Florida, southern Alabama, the areas that have that orange and red coloring on your screen. And basically, if you don't know what a supercell is, it's the type of storm that usually and is most likely to produce tornadoes. So when you see a tornado, most likely you're in a supercell storm. Those are usually the most impactful and most significant storms. So when you see that, it shows that we do have the threat of not only hail, but also tornadoes and damaging winds. So the SCP values are quite high, and this is also the same area that has that tornado watch. So I think there is a correlation within that. Here is the expected rainfall, and these numbers are really, really high. We're dealing with potentially 5 to 7 inches of rainfall within this band right here. A general 2 to 5 inches, but again, some localized areas getting 4 to 7 inches, 5 to 7 inches plus, even in some of those areas. So really do take precaution. If you get stuck within multiple bands of these storms, then you're definitely going to get hit with over 3 or 4 inches of rainfall. So not a good situation in terms of flooding either, even if you don't get any of the destructive or damaging winds out of this event. And then here's the precipitable water, which is basically how much water is available in the atmosphere at any one given point. And you can see that we have 1 to 2 inch precipitable water amounts all throughout parts of the southeast, even 1.5 to 2 inches. So that's well above what you need. Typically, you only need about 1 inch of precipitable water to get a decent or well-developed thunderstorm. So the fact that we have more than that definitely supports that, and definitely is going to help these storms grow and develop a little bit more. Here's the dew points, and you can see that we have dew points that are up above 70 over this entire area, which is under the highest and greatest threat for seeing some severe storms. You only need a dew point above 60 to get a good, well-developed storm. So when you're 10-degree dew points, 10 degrees above that, you really have that threat of getting a good, well-developed thunderstorm over many of these areas through and along the southeast. Here's the temperatures, and over the same area, you can see that we have temperatures that are all above 75, even a few approaching 80 in some isolated spots. So we have warm temperatures for today. So we have muggy and humid and warm conditions today. Really not a nice combination. And here's the STP parameter, or the significant tornado parameter, over parts of southern Georgia, southern Alabama, and the Panhandle of Florida. We have values that are above 4, even up to 5 in some of those areas. So that's indicating that we have a high risk, or at least a moderate risk, of seeing some tornadoes within this area. This is just basically measuring different components of the atmosphere and then kind of producing that into one map and showing you how likely it is that a tornado will actually develop. The higher the number, the higher the likelihood of that occurring. So that is going to wrap it up for today's video. Please consider liking the video, subscribing, and turning on notifications, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.